Hey folks, welcome to the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. I am your host, Vince, the Evil Dungeon Master, the Evil DM. Hopefully you're having a great Wednesday. This is hump day of the week, and hopefully it's going well for you. And as we head closer to the weekend, and hopefully you have a game plan today, tomorrow, or the weekend. I have a game plan this weekend. It's a Palladium Fantasy 1E, which is essentially AD&D, but just with Kevin's house rules for Palladium Fantasy. But anyway, head over to theevildm.com for my website. You can click on there to ask questions, ask the DM at theevildm.com as well. Head over to facebook.com/theevildungeonmaster, and you can send me a message as well. And I got another message here from a listener of the podcast and a follower of the YouTube channel. His name is Tom B. I don't usually say last names because I don't like to do that, but Tom B sent me a private message on my Facebook page asking me about Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 1E. And we can call this maybe, I don't know, an RFI mini, for example, because everybody loved when we did Roll for Initiative, so why not just make this an RFI mini? But today, the question is he's asking about attack of opportunity, which was a term that got coined in 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons, but he wanted to know if there were rules for it in 1E. What happens when you break off of melee attacks or combat? Is there any repercussions? Well, if you open up the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Ifriti Demon cover one, at least, that's the one I have in front of me, and you turn to page 70, halfway through the page, it says breaking off from melee. And I'll read it to you. At such time as any creature decides, it can break off the engagement and flee the melee. To do so, however, allows the opponent a free attack or attack routine. This attack is calculated as if it were a rear attack upon a stunned opponent. When this attack is completed, the fleeing party may move away at full movement rate, and unless the opponent pursues and is able to move at a higher rate of speed, the melee is ended and the situation becomes one of an encounter avoidance. Now, if you just look back a few more pages, 69 and 68 around there, it talks about encounter avoidance. But attack of opportunity has been here since 1E and probably even further back than that. But it's right here in the book, and it's in plain black and white. They just called it breaking off from melee. 3E just coined it attack of opportunity, and I think 4E named it opportune attack, and I think 5E did something similar. I don't really play 5E that often, enough that I know those rules too well. But we do have an attack of opportunity listed on page 7, and it is referencing this too as well. I want to point out when attack, where is it? The attack is calculated as if it were a rear attack upon a stunned opponent. So that means another term that you might be more familiar with your later editions is flat-footed, meaning you don't get your dexterity bonuses because you're stunned. In this edition, they just said it's stunned, and also your character is being attacked from behind, or the rear, as it's saying, which means you don't have the same guards up as if you had a shield in front of you. So you have to remember that when you carry a shield, it only protects in front of you, and I guess, what is that, 120 degree angle, or 180, I guess, degree angle in front of you. So to your left, in front of you, to your right. The side of you, maybe a little bit, but not much. Behind you, no. So you're basically losing your dexterity bonus. You're losing your shield bonus or anything that you have in front of you that would help you protect you, like a sword, maybe if you had a defense. So, and that as well. And of course, if you're not able to run because of maybe you're wounded, or you're weighed down because of some encumbrance rule you're playing with. I don't really play with a lot of encumbrance rules. I just kind of do whatever makes sense. It's going to hinder your movement rate, which means the monster or opponent can move faster than you and then becomes a running away attack. And then they could probably, as you're running away, attack you again from behind with the same procedure, because this time you'll have your dexterity bonus, but going forward you won't have your extra protection because it's behind you. Now, hopefully, Tom, that did clear things up for you, and you are correct. There are some rules for it. You just have to find it. It's just sometimes buried somewhere in the books because there's a lot of rules all over the place. You wouldn't know where they were. And it took me a moment to find this one, but I remembered it being in the DMG towards the beginning part of it. So, and it has other rules in here if you want to do it, like flanking attacks, rear attacks. So I'm thinking also, since it's right here on that same page, well, it says as if it were a rear attack upon a stunned opponent. So rear attacks not only will get the bonus for being flat-footed, and I'm using quotes here, which is no dexterity bonus, no shield bonus. They also get, according to page 70, where it says, opponents attacking from the rear give a +2 to hit. Okay? So you get an extra +2 to hit, and negate any other considerations for shield, also negate any considerations for dexterity. Also, you lose your dexterity as well. There you go, even if you're running. Now it's saying also a rear attack upon a stunned opponent, which is also right below that. Treat all such opponents as if they're being attacked from the rear, but in this case, 2 hit is a bonus of 4 than a 2. So not only did I get that wrong, because I was looking up, because I don't really use a lot of these actual bonuses like this, because a lot of my players don't run. But you get a +4. So you're being treated as if you were a stunned opponent, no dexterity bonus, from behind, no shield bonuses, and you're getting a +4 to attack them from behind. So there are some things to consider here. There's a lot of little special attacks here. Flanking attacks and invisible opponents, sleeping or held opponents are here as well on this same page. So attacking with 2 weapons in case people, and they talk about the monk's open-handed melee attack. And that's hopefully answering your questions and a couple more other odd questions that might come to the table. Again, I am no expert on AD&D 1E. Yes, I did run a podcast for 11 years with Matt and Nick. We never claimed to be experts when it came to this stuff. We only claimed to be fans who really adored 1E as written by Gary Gygax, because 1E was Gary Gygax's quote-unquote baby. This was his edition of gaming. This is what he liked to play all the time. Granted, he didn't follow the rules as written. He only, he kind of made stuff all along the way, because that's what a lot of DMs do anyway. Flow of the story, keep it going. I noticed as he got older, he changed a lot of stuff and went to rolling a lot of D6s for things, and Gary's D6 method of finding things, he changed along the way. Hopefully you've enjoyed this Roll for Initiative mini, or RFI mini as we called them in the past. I think it was season 5 I did it on this podcast. 15 episodes, you can look back at those and see it. Or was it season 4? I'm not sure. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this. You can always email askthedm@theevildm.com, facebook.com/theevildungeonmaster for a private message if you want to ask a question. Just give me permission to say your name as well. Otherwise, I will just say from an anonymous user if I don't get it, which is fine. Not a lot of people want their name sent out. They just want to ask a question and like to inspire some podcasts here and there. Oh, you can also hit me up on Twitter @theevildm. I will take your questions there as well. Or it's the X, whatever you want to call it. So with that said, I'm going to head out. Today's a little bit shorter episode today. Usually I try to go a little bit further, but that's all I really need to say. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.